This is Dr. Llewellyn Eisen, and I have just a brief little presentation on some of the key dichotomies that have riddled the history of mental health and healing in religious history. So one of the first dichotomies to consider is the problem of dualism. Dualism suggests that there is a distinction between the mind and the body, a tension that is somewhat unresolvable. Questions that emerge around this theme address whether or not the mental life is grounded in the body, or is the mental life distinct? Does it have an essence of its own? Of course, part of the problem here is that the mind isn't something that can be seen, and very often when we can't pinpoint exactly where something is, we have a hard time understanding it as actually part of the body. The idea of a mental disorder suggests that it is something distinct from the body, located in the brain, which is something that can be seen, but the mind is not. If mental disorders are in the mind and not the body, then one might argue they're imagined, or maybe people don't have enough control. Another key dichotomy in the history of this topic is about cause. In terms of cause, mental disturbance is sometimes seen as a disease or a malevolent force. Many opinions about mental disturbances throughout history contain blends of cause, ranging from evil spirits to biology. One of the challenges of issues related to cause, one of the challenges is that this can be manifested in biomedical perspectives that are laden with value judgments and stereotypes about people who express disturbed behaviors. Another key dichotomy is about control. And here the tensions are between determinism and free will. And this is about choice. Are people free to make their own choices? Are the fates and the actions of humans under their own control? Or are the fates of humans under the control of other forces like laws or planets or deities or nature? If human action is the product of will, then blame can be placed on the individual. On the other hand, if human action is determined by exterior forces, then there's little point in blaming. Another dichotomy has to do with treatment, whether treatment of people who have mental challenges or mental illness are punitive or humane. Neglect and harsh treatment of people who are different or who express difference has been so dehumanizing that it defies imagination. Everything from torture to placing people on display. There is a course of history of humane treatment of people, but that takes time and it costs more. And so that has come into conflict with others who would prefer a different, more effective, and perhaps financially expedient treatment. And then finally, there are historical gaps. There are huge time lags between scientific and humanistic advances and understanding human behavior and emotion. Progress related to understanding, or progress related to wanting to understand mentally disturbed behavior has been historically quite slow. Two examples of dichotomy can be found in the medical approaches of Asclepiades of the 1st century and Celsus of the 2nd century. These two physicians were separated by 300 years, and their approach towards individuals with mental health challenges were quite different. Asclepiades counseled and argued for music therapy. In fact, he even was quite extensive in his explanations of what types of music and what chords should be played for people with different diseases. He counseled for rest, and he counseled for comfort for people who were emotionally disturbed. On the other hand, Celsus had a different approach. He argued for the use of restraints, for the use of sensory deprivation, for hunger, and for darkness, all as a way of controlling and curing. His belief was that these methods would cure those who struggle with emotional or mental diseases.